Hey guys, this is your last video for this unit. In this video, we're going to focus on the forces, and specifically the forces that are going to impact the Earth's crust. So we've got our layers of the Earth on the inside, the crust, the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. And we've been talking about how we know that all of those things are moving around. They're constantly bumping up against each other, pulling away, and slipping past. So why do we have the Earth's surface look the way that it does? And that's exactly what we're going to look at today. So in your notebook, we have three major forces or processes or agents that we're going to look at: weathering, erosion, and deposition. And you probably remember these three words from 7th grade. So we're going to look a little bit more deeply into what is involved in each of these things and what are some examples. All right, for weathering is just simply the breaking up and changing of the rocks. I can have physical weathering, which is changing the appearance. I go from a large piece of rock to a smaller piece of rock. But then I can also have chemical weathering. And chemical weathering is going to create a completely new substance. So what are some agents of weathering? Wind, plant roots, heating and cooling. I can have something called ice wedging, where water seeps down into cracks and freezes, and it acts like a wedge and breaks those rocks apart. Those are all agents of weathering, and they can either be mechanical weathering, which changes the physical appearance, or chemical weathering, which changes the type of substance. Erosion is the next process, and it's basically the picking up and carrying away of the rock pieces or the soil. Again, wind, water, and ice are going to be your agents, but gravity is also going to be an agent of erosion. Some erosion happens constantly, so it kind of is a creep. We see that in places like California, where they have mudslides and they have hills and the landscape that's going to allow gravity to take a hold of that. The third is deposition, and when you deposit something, you drop it off. So deposition is the process of dropping off or depositing those rock pieces, and that's going to constantly change the shape of the Earth's surface. So we can create sand dunes. If we have a river carrying the sand, the silt, the pieces, we create deltas. So weathering, erosion, and deposition are really what we call constructive forces, and those are going to be the forces that build up the Earth's surface. We've got a couple of forces that are going to tear down the Earth's surface, and they're going to change it. And weathering, erosion, and deposition can also do that as well. So this is a picture of something called land subsidence, and you'll notice that it just looks like a big, huge hole. Well, this hole was not created by humans necessarily. This was something that just happened. So the removal of the water, or we could have running water underneath it that's removing bits and pieces, and there's nothing to hold up the top surface, so the land just kind of sinks down or subsides. It changes the shape and it causes it to kind of go downward, because of course gravity is also going to be helping it out. In other places, we have something called sinkholes, and you'll notice this picture that I've shown you. Texas, Florida, and Tennessee are three places where sinkholes are really a big threat. They can open up very quickly, and they will consume houses, roadways, buildings, swimming pools. And basically what's happening is the substance underneath the Earth's crust gets removed, whether it's a natural process or human-induced, and there's nothing left to hold up the surface, so the ground simply sinks. It can be a very dangerous thing. So we have all of these forces and all of these different features on the Earth's surface. So how do we know what they look like and where they're located? Well, we can create something called a topographic map. Basically, a topographic map is going to show the elevation of the land. We're going to use something called contour lines, and you probably saw this on your curriculum assessment. There were several questions. We'll be working with them this week. Contour lines show elevation. Every point on a particular line is at a particular elevation, either going up or going back down. The steeper the slope, the contour lines are close together. The gradual the slope, the contour lines are further apart, and our elevation is not quite as great. If the elevation increases outward to inward, it's an increase in height. If it decreases out to in, it's a decrease in height. Between using topographic maps and satellite pictures like you see here, we're able to see the land in a new way. And that's a wrap.